Welcome back to Am I to Blame, where we explore real-life dilemmas and ask you to weigh in. Today's story involves a husband, his wife, and a cringeworthy moment at their college reunion. Did the husband fail his wife when she needed him most? Let's hear his side of the story.
My wife and I were both looking forward to our college reunion. It had been 5 years since we graduated, and we were eager to reconnect with old friends, reminisce about the good times, and see how everyone had changed over the years. We spent days picking out the perfect outfits. My wife, as usual, was the more meticulous one. She settled on a stunning dress that hugged her in all the right places, a deep navy blue that made her look elegant but still approachable. I, on the other hand, went with a navy blue suit, tailored to perfection. We both looked good, and we knew it. The reunion was held in a grand hall on campus, filled with the hum of familiar voices and the clinking of glasses. There were old friends everywhere, laughing, reminiscing, and catching up. The air was filled with the comforting smell of fancy hors d'oeuvres and that nostalgic sense of belonging, like we were still part of something bigger than ourselves. We joined a table of some of our closest friends from college, people we hadn't seen in years, but still felt like we could pick up where we left off. The conversations flowed easily at first. We were laughing, talking about old professors, favorite campus hangouts, and what we'd been up to since graduation. The night was going perfectly. But then, everything changed in a split second. One of our friends was telling a particularly funny story about a crazy prank that had gone wrong during our senior year. It had everyone laughing, and my wife joined in, her laugh bright and infectious. But just as she let out a laugh that felt a little too hearty, I noticed her freeze. At first, I thought it was just a brief moment of awkwardness. Maybe she was about to cough or choke on her drink. But then I saw her shift uncomfortably in her chair. It was as if she was trying to hold something in, something that was already too far gone to control. And then it happened. A loud, unmistakable fart. The noise itself wasn't what shocked me. It was how sharp, sudden, and loud it was, cutting through the conversation like a knife. A second later, the smell hit. It wasn't subtle. It was like a punch to the face. The unmistakable stink of rotten eggs mixed with the sharp sourness of spoiled garbage left in the sun for too long. It lingered in the air, as if the very atmosphere itself had taken on a new, unpleasant tone. For a brief, excruciating moment, the entire table went silent. It wasn't like a normal, awkward silence. It was the kind of silence that hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as everyone processed what had just happened. I could see my wife's face go redder than I've ever seen it before. Her eyes darted around the table, but no one said a word. Then, almost as if on cue, people started reacting. One of our friends, seated across from us, blinked rapidly, her face contorting like she was trying to suppress a cough. Another friend, sitting next to her, subtly leaned back in his chair, as if trying to escape the cloud of doom that was now wafting in the air. Everyone knew exactly where it came from. The seating arrangement made it painfully clear. There was no denying that the smell had originated from my wife. She was sitting right next to me, her face a shade of red I've only ever seen in cartoons. She refused to look at me, her eyes glued to her lap as if the floor would swallow her whole. And then it hit me. She was silently pleading with me for help. Her eyes flashed toward me for just a second, a silent request for me to do something, anything, to save her from this nightmare. But instead of jumping in and taking the blame, or making a joke to defuse the situation, I froze. I started thinking, what should I do? Should I claim it was me? Should I make a joke to ease the tension? But my mind went blank. The sheer awkwardness of the situation paralyzed me. I felt trapped in my own body, unable to move or speak. I just sat there, pretending like I didn't notice anything, hoping it would all blow over. But, spoiler alert, it didn't. One of our classmates finally broke the silence with an awkward cough, muttering under his breath, "What is that?" Another tried to steer the conversation back on track, but it was too late. The damage was done. My wife stayed silent, mortified. She didn't even glance at me. I, in turn, kept my head down, not daring to meet her gaze. We both just hoped the moment would pass. Like maybe if we just stayed silent long enough, everyone would forget. But the rest of the night was different. There was an awkward tension that never quite left. We tried to enjoy the reunion, but it wasn't the same. Conversations felt strained. Our friends seemed a little more distant, and every time my wife and I exchanged glances, I could see the weight of the moment hanging between us. On the way home, my wife let me have it. I could tell she was furious, but she didn't yell at me right away. She was too embarrassed for that. Instead, she quietly fumed, staring out the window. The silence in the car thick and uncomfortable. When we got home, she finally spoke up, her voice a mixture of anger and hurt. "Why didn't you do anything?" she asked. "You could have taken the blame, made a joke, anything, but instead, you left me to deal with it all by myself." I tried to explain myself. I said I didn't know what to do, that I panicked, and I didn't want to make it worse. I even tried to downplay it, saying, "Come on, everyone farts, it's not a big deal." But she wasn't having it. She said, "It is a big deal when it happens at the worst possible moment, and when your husband just sits there doing nothing to help. I was looking to you for support, for you to have my back," she said, her voice soft but filled with so much emotion. "But you let me down." And that's when I started thinking, could I have handled this better? Was it my job to save her from that embarrassment? Or was it reasonable to freeze in such a socially awkward moment? What would have happened if I had stepped in? Would it have made things worse, or would it have taken the edge off the awkwardness? Could I have lightened the mood and saved her from feeling so mortified? As much as I tried to tell myself it wasn't a big deal, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had failed her. She needed me in that moment, and I let her down. So now I'm left wondering, am I to blame? Should I have done something? Anything? Or was I right to freeze in the moment, hoping it would pass?
So, what do you think? Was the husband right to freeze, or did he fail his wife in her moment of need? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've ever been in an awkward situation like this, we'd love to hear your story. Thanks for tuning in to Am I to Blame? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing stories. Until next time, Am I to Blame?